All right, another beautiful Tuesday morning. And you know what? Last week's Breakfast with Bill, I felt like something was off, Bill. Don't you think it just felt like a little, I don't know, rigid, stale, old? Something was off. What was going on last week?
Well, I think those words are a little harsh, but we do have Matt back in the saddle, huh? I think Ron did a great job filling in, but it's really good to see Matt back and healthy, most importantly.
Yeah. Thank you. Glad to be back. And is that Ron in the bullpen?
Ron,
He's over there with a lapel mic getting ready just in case if I go down on the first show back. He's ready to rock.
We tease Ron because he doesn't love being in front of the camera and he doesn't love going live without a script, and he did a great job with that last week. And Matt's return is an answer to Ron's weekly novena.
Nice job, Ron.
Yeah, so Matt's back. How you feeling?
Feeling good.
Yeah.
Feeling good. A little disappointed that I can't eat some of my favorite food groups, fried foods, meats, cheeses, that sort of thing.
Or forever?
Temporary, but it should probably kick in a new diet, at least for a while. But that's like my main food group, charcuterie.
Yeah, right. Cured meats. So right now, Matt's living on bread and water, almost like he's a prisoner. Happy to have him back. Looking forward to him getting full energy back. And being healthy for us. So glad to have you, brother. Matt and I talk all the time about sales process. You guys probably get really bored with that. And we were talking over the past few days about how do we illustrate the impact of process? How do we illustrate the impact of why we need to make small gains? Because too often people talk about, we got to change out our people. We got to transform the sales team. We have to get rid of everyone and bring in everyone new, or do we have to double our efforts? And I wanted to show you today that we really don't. Right? But we're talking about and transforming an organization's results and transforming the impact that your sales team can have on an organization. It's really about tweaking what they do, right? It's incremental gains for exponential impact.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think the pandemic really emphasized some of that of coming back. Do we need to change sales process? Do we need to change people? Maybe 2 weeks ago we talked about, should we change our expectations of the results based off of that? And, oftentimes for me, I have a lot of common themes that I keep talking about over and over and over and over again. And, maybe not a one-trick pony, but only a few tricks. But the reason is because the recipe is simple. We know what to do. The recipe is simple. It's the consistent implementation that is difficult. It's the day in and day out consistency, the mental toughness, and some of these incremental gains. That's what selling is all about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that mental toughness analogy, the recipe analogy, right? It's true. It's not like we have to reinvent ourselves every day. Commit to the process. Commit to what you know is right, and good things happen. And we have a calculator to share with you today that'll help illustrate that. And we talk about the impact of what we do. And if we were to say today our current state on the left is that we get in a given year per sales rep roughly say 200 leads, and these numbers are arbitrary. We don't get locked in on the numbers as much as the impact of the incremental gains. But if we were to say we get 200 leads, and of those we convert 50% of those to prospects, and of those 50% we convert 40% of them into a proposal or prospect proposal stage, and then from the proposal stage, say our close rate is 50%. That means we would have 20 wins. And if our average deal size is $50,000, again, might be bigger or smaller than you're used to, but let's focus on the impact of the future state. Then that means we'd be at about $1 million per sales rep. If we had 50 sales reps, we're at $50 million in sales. And most organizations would say, if I could grow 10%, great year. If I grow 20%, Katie barred the door, what are we going to do? So let's jump to the future state and say, let's just say we stick with the same number of leads. So we do no crazy marketing activity. We do no crazy prospecting and investment in the business. We still get 200 leads. And let's just say that 50% of those remain qualified and they become prospects. But what if once we start talking to somebody, once we start getting into the sales process, what if we're able to convert that 40% rate to I don't know, Matt. What's a small, reasonable number?
Couple percentage points.
Yeah, so say we take that up 10% and it goes to 44%, right? And then we now are seeing some lift with just that small gain. But what if we can increase our win rate by 5%? I'm sorry, by 10% overall, which takes it to 55%. What happens then? We see by that incremental gain, that small incremental gain, and say our deal size, by the way, we're getting better with what we do in our deals. So say that goes up 10% because we're able to find more value for somebody and stay locked in on value and not give away discounts as quickly. With these small 10% increases in each category, which is a 4% lift in our number of people returning in proposals and a 5% lift in the number of wins we have, we're able to grow the business by, in this case, this example, $16 million plus, right? Which works out to be roughly what, Evan? And what is that, 33%, give or take? So we're at about 33% lift in the business with these small incremental gains in our effectiveness. And that effectiveness comes from that rigorous adherence to the process, right? That strict adherence to process. So when people say, oh, we can't grow, or boy, I hope we could grow by 5%, this should show us how easy or realistic large increases in the business can be.
Yeah, and I like to talk about, let's do it 1%, right? 1%. If you could get one more, prospect engaged a week, one more. If you could close one more deal, if you could increase your closing percentage by 1% month over month, very, very realistic numbers. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I spent some time thinking about, where are 5 areas quickly that we could just get that percentage gain, right? Where I see the salespeople that we coach, where we should focus, because we want small bite-sized pieces. So, for me, 1%, time management. Start with your time management. How can I get 1% better with my time management? Whether it's calendaring, whether it's being focused on revenue generating activities, whether it's having to look in the mirror and saying, am I focusing on stuff that I really can't control in time management? Number 2 for me is prospecting, the time spent doing. I think we all can probably spend 1% more prospecting, making that one more call or that one more drop in, or whatever that may be. And then when we transition into sales process, how can I get 1% better at asking open-ended questions and living in discovery, right? Simple. We all know about living in discovery, open-ended questions. It's something that we talk about all the time on the show. 4 for me, one thing questions. How can we get 1% better at asking one thing questions? Maybe more towards the end of the engagement, asking those tough questions. What's one thing that's not in our proposal that you needed to see to move forward? We talk about that. And then, 5 for me is one thing, 1% better, clear next steps. That's the area where I would put all of the money with clear next steps in regards to one thing. I'm getting better.
Well, it's interesting because with one thing questions, with clear next steps, over the past 3 weeks or so, I've been involved in, I think, 3 different sales cycles where the clear next step has really transformed the relationship. And in every one of them, when I said a clear next step, somebody would say, "Oh, look at this! You're pushing to do what you say." And I said, "Well, you wouldn't respect me if I didn't, right? We would hope that somebody wouldn't respect us if we didn't practice what we preach." But setting it, people are very open and receptive to it. And then in 3 different cases, having that clear next step on the calendar led to me getting feedback that day from the person that they weren't ready. But in every case, they proposed another clear next step. So every person came back to me and said, "Bill, haven't had a chance to talk to so-and-so, haven't had a chance to get the budget done, haven't had a chance to do whatever, but I'll have it done by next Friday." And they've proposed a new time back to me. So in every one of those cases, we still have momentum, We're not lost in the sea of ambiguity, which is where we go when we don't have clear next steps on the calendar, right? It's maintained that momentum, which allows us to increase our closing percentage.
Yep.
Because it's a lot easier to close business when you're able to talk to somebody versus being lost in the sea of ambiguity. So if we get these small, subtle lifts in our effectiveness, like Matt said, being focused on revenue generating activities, and if you increase 1% per month, you're increasing 12% per year, which is what our illustration showed roughly, right? Where we were up. Oh, look, Evan went back to just 1% on our calculator. But if we increase 1% per year, we're increasing 12%, 1% per month. We're increasing 12% per year, which, Evan, if we go back into those proposal numbers and we say we take it up from 40% to take that to 46%, please. And if we take the closing rate from 50 and let's say we take that up to 57%. 57%. You have to add the percentage. There you go. So now, again, we're lifting our business $15 million, right? Which is a 33% increase. What if we got great? And what if we just start hitting the stride and we say, like so many teams we work with, they start at a point where it's lower. So let's say that 46% proposal win rate goes to, call that 50%. And what if that goes up to, that win rate goes up to 60%? Now we're talking about growing by 50%. See the small tweaks it takes, the small impact that we need to have, the small tweak we need to have this exponential growth impact on our business. So for those who are out there and saying, oh, I survived COVID and I'm just hoping to get through and I'm just hoping that we can make our numbers, or I'm hoping we could see some small increase this year. I'm hoping we could do something that's, survivability. No, it's about greatness. It's not about mediocrity. You don't have to be mediocre because the world is giving you a pandemic. Respond with what you can control. And when you respond and attack these numbers and say, like Matt did, I'm going to do one more call today. I'm going to get one more appointment this week. I'm going to get one more dollar on my deal. I'm going to add 5%. By the way, I don't know if you noticed, like inflation's going crazy. So if we plan on charging the same fees in 2022 that we were charging in 2020, because we feel like we just have to beg for people's business, we're not going to be where we need to be. So have that courage in the moment to stand your price. Don't give up 20% just because somebody says you're a little aggressive or your price is a little high. Don't meet the price of the lowest competitor just because somebody threw it out to you. When we become disciplined and following the process, our close rates are going to go up. We're going to stay tighter to our pricing. We're not going to give away all we need, all those things we don't need to give away in the negotiation. And you're going to double you're going to grow by 50%. You're going to grow by 25%. You're going to hit these great numbers. So I don't know. I get a little excited talking about these numbers because it's things we can control, right? I can control the process. I can control what I'm going to do in the process and driving the sales cycles, which is going to lead to this exponential growth in the business. So I'm sorry if it seems like I'm yelling at you. It's usually when I go into this tone that my kids are like, Dad, why are you angry? I'm not angry. I'm just fired up. I love it. So
yeah. But when we talk about doing doing a little bit more, 1%, we have to have a baseline.
That's right. You have to know where your current state is.
And I think that's one of the failures that we see a lot. So maybe even before we do 1% more or one more call, what is our baseline? What does a good day look like? And it seems like every single show it goes back to this, but it's so important that we cannot possibly do one more if we don't know what success looks like and we don't know what we should be doing daily. So many of us probably have the leads, the prospects, the proposals, the win rate. Those are easy metrics. That's what you pay to play in sales. I hope everybody knows those off the top of their head. However, we were talking about clear next steps earlier and the impact of those 3 examples. We go as far as our clear next step percentage. Right.
Yeah.
That's under the hood. That's deeper. That's going into to process, right? Because how can I get better at clear next steps if I don't know how often I'm getting them now?
And by the way, we live that every time I have a conversation with a prospect. If I tell Matt about it, he says, "What's our clear next step?" And I'll ask him, because we hold each other accountable to that. Because it's not good enough to say I had a great conversation. Mm-hmm. They have a need. They like us. By the way, they know so-and-so. Mm-hmm. That's not good enough, right? We have to have those clear next steps on the calendar. We need to have our discovery in line. We need to understand FANT inside of every deal. Because when we do those things, and that's why it's so repetitive. I get it. It's reinforcement we go through all the time, because it's only in mastering those steps that allows us to drive and increase these percentages, where that's what takes us from a 50% close rate to a 55% close rate or a 60% close rate, right? It's not about going from 20 to 80. That's not the lift we're looking for to really have an impact on the business. We're talking about incremental growth, incremental impact, right? The incremental growth that has this exponential impact.
And for those of you that have heard this before, maybe even some of our clients, today I just want to ask you, what is standing in the way from that 1%?
Yeah.
Look in the mirror and ask yourself, as we do as well, on days that we don't give that 1 more percent, but what is standing in the way? Is it true things, or actual things that get in the way in the business that are real, right? Because there are fires that are important.
Like the world being closed down. So on March 18th of last year, there were real impediments to us being effective in sales, right?
Exactly. Or is it made up? Is it, oh, wow, I'd rather do that than prospecting. Or I'm going to go on LinkedIn and call it prospecting for 3 hours. Or
and research people. And next thing you know, you're on Instagram
Yeah.
watching TikToks because you go down to the social media.
Yeah,
hole.
or I'm going to jump into ops because ops really needs me for today.
Yeah, because we can't get things out the door as fast as I could sell them.
Right. So, you know, I think today is a challenge for everybody that's watching this. You know, what is standing in your way from doing 1% more in those categories, in questioning, in time management, in prospecting, in clear next steps? Because I think that's the best place to start and look for the 1%, but really high impact.
Yeah, and I'm going to challenge Matt, actually, because I don't know if it's 1% or just one more. You know, and you think about, what if we did one more of everything? What if we did one more call a day? What if you were able to get one more opportunity a week?
Yeah.
What if you were able to get one more opportunity a week that you had a clear next step set when you left the meeting? What if you were able to get one more dollar, right? Or one more unit, or one more whatever of what we're selling? What if we were able to do just one more? One more. Because, you know, 1% makes me start going into the ether of how do I do the math? And just do one more. Just do one more call. One more call at the end of the day. We do one more, whatever it might be. What impact will you have on your business this year? What impact will you have on the families of those people that depend on you? What impact will you have on your market segment? And what impact will you have on your clients' lives?
Yeah. And start today, May 18th. You know, is it May 18th?
It is.
Yeah. May 18th rather than next week, next quarter.
Monday,
it's already Tuesday.
June 1st.
I got to prep for this.
Q2. Yeah, how about now? How about like right now?
Yeah,
we'll
today.
do you a favor. We'll end the show right now. And for those of you who are always tuning in, you're going to be like, oh, I just got 8 minutes back or 6 minutes back. So take the next 6 minutes, sit down, make your plan about what am I going to do today to get one more. And I guarantee you, Matt and I both give you our personal guarantees. Your year will have exponential growth. Your life will have exponential growth. And you're going to be fired up and excited to go to work every day. So, yeah.
Glad to be back.
Good to have you, buddy. Thanks for everything. Thank you all for being with us. Have a great week. God bless you, and take care.